Now, our next guest is known for playing one of Britain's best-loved TV doctors, caring for the East End's poorest residents alongside the nuns of Nonitus House in Call The Midwife. We're only 2 episodes into the series and Dr Patrick Turner has already stopped the outbreak of a deadly disease. And please welcome Call The Midwife's Stephen McGann.
Thanks. Hello.
Hi. Welcome, Stephen. Quite striking, that clip, actually, you know, in this day and age. But it's the 60s, you know, it's living memory very much, isn't it?
One of the great values of the show sometimes is because of the time it's set. The important thing with vaccination is back then, like when my mum was getting me vaccinated as a kid, you could still see those diseases around. So everybody knew exactly what they were doing. But now it's like we've forgotten how horrible things like diphtheria are. And, you know, only a few weeks ago, before Christmas, when we'd made that episode, and we were going to put diphtheria into this thing, which isn't natural in the country now, thankfully, but you can catch it around the world. There was a case, a couple of people in Scotland were infected who travelled to somewhere in the world, and they weren't vaccinated for the diphtheria. And it's, as you see on the programme, it's such a horrible disease, like measles. People think from a distance, oh, we don't see that, it mustn't be very serious. These are horrible things.
But is diphtheria something that you get vaccinated for when you're a child?
You do, when you're a young child.
So how would you know if you'd been vaccinated?
Well, if you've had all your vaccinations and made sure you got all your kids to be vaccinated, and if you're in any doubt, don't talk to a pretend doctor. Talk to a real one. Just talk to your GP, and there's lots of fantastic information online where people like Public Health England have got lots of campaigns. They'll help you. But if you need to be sure, what I would say to you is do check and be sure, especially if you're on one of these adventure holidays to somewhere very exotic. Do check. Always check your vaccination.
Is that one of the things you love about Call The Midwife?
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the fact that your wife is a writer and producer and she does a brilliant job.
And she's boss, so she has to be obeyed. Yeah.
But that it does tackle lots of important social issues. Rather, you know, it's not just a drama in terms of the character.
Right from the very first episode, what I always remembered, there was people often used to say, oh, it's very, very cosy and it's a stuck world and it's all in this nice... Actually, 20 minutes into the first episode, a woman is suffering from the serious effects of syphilis so bad that you can smell it. I mean, how graphic do you have to be on a Sunday evening? That was right from the beginning. And we've never, ever been afraid in the middle of nice cups of tea and Horlicks to show the real social parts of life. And also, as you say, you know, the wider issues about poverty, about women's role in society. We've tried to bring that through in these times from the 50s to the 60s of such incredible change.
And because of that, you're now up for an NTA, aren't you?
We're up for an NTA. Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, also these fantastic people are up for an NTA.
They don't know that.
So why don't we do some back scratching? You know, it's a brilliant programme. I always absolutely love coming on here, and if you love what we do, please do go and do a vote.
I love how much you love the show.
Oh, I'm mad at you.
Before you came in, we were told that you wanted to know all the topics and you wanted to get involved in everything. I love that.
But I'm so glad you heard about this, because I suppose someone said a really good thing off camera. Someone said, but I guess it's all women together like your other job, and it's, you know, it's a show about women. And I personally think it's fantastic as a bloke to be involved in all of that stuff. But you've always made me laugh so much. And I just like, the other thing I like talking about is all these issues that just shut me up. It's not about me, it's about all of these...
Well, on that, did you babysit your own child?
I certainly
did. You help out? Was that language used?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I found a lot of that very interesting because my son, for one reason or another, had to go to a bottle quite early. And this brilliant thing happened when he was very, very young, because I've got one son, 23 now. But back then, we took turns each night because I could bottle feed. I thought it was fantastic. Because then I could get up with the nighttime feed. And what I would say about blokes and their kids is it starts on day one.
Yeah.
Get your relationship. Just because they're not talking to you doesn't mean that you haven't been introduced to the most important person in your life. But like being introduced to any stranger, you've got to get to know each other. And the time to get to know each other is day one.
It's hard, isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Because a lot of women are trying to establish their breastfeeding at that point.
They are.
You know, so it's harder for the man to get involved from day one, do you think?
Yeah, I do. And if you think about the advantage I had, what I mean by the bottle is that poor Heidi, who'd had a very, very difficult birth and had been through through the process, she could catch back on some sleep as well.
Yeah.
And so looking at the situation, rather like it being an imposition, it became this fantastic positive where I could do all the bottles and get them sterilised. I could help.
Yeah.
Because heaven knows, with the best will in the world, a man is pretty useless in the birthing room.
No, they're not.
Birthing room.
Oh,
In the
well.
birthing room. My wife in transition, very famously, and the most difficult period, turned to me and said, "Stop making that breathing noise." My wife basically told me to stop breathing. That's how much use I
My
was.
husband tried to pick me up off the trolley and he slipped a disc. I was so heavy, I put on 4 stone. But I have to say, I'd never seen Call the Midwife until last night, and I put it on because I knew you were coming, and I loved it, honestly.
Oh.
There's little Primrose. They found a baby in the dustbin.
Yeah.
But the baby was
Yeah.
all right, though, weren't she?
The baby was all right,
And
yeah.
Terry, who had the diphtheria,
Yeah.
please tell me he makes it.
He made it through this time. We got to him quickly enough.
Oh, thank you.
But we care, we love this show, and all the people who work on the programme, I think that comes across, that we care passionately about what it
Yeah,
is.
you can tell.
And you originally came in just as a small part.
I did.
As
it
a
was
favour
tiny.
to your missus.
Oh, it was brilliant. What it was how did, and when people look at me, I go, "Oh, I see. Large, successful programme, and your wife writes it." Actually, the brilliant thing was, and one of the reasons I like vaccination stories and I'm so passionate about it, I was actually a student when Call the Midwife started. I was in college, in university, studying a subject called science communication, which is all about the nature of science and medicine and its relationship with society. So I was an expert or an enthusiast in all of this before I was ever on Call the Midwife. I'm in college. One day she rings me up. She said, "You know that midwife thing you're doing?" I say, "Yeah, I've got my books, I'm doing all my..." She said, "There's this part for this doctor." I was thinking, yeah, getting suspicious. Haven't worked with her for 25 years. And she said, "We can't really find the right guy. We want someone with loads of experience, but the part's really small." And I'm thinking, so why don't... I said, "I'm at college." She said, "No, we'll work around you."
Stephen, listen, I have to jump in. I'm sorry, Alan, but can we just say the rest is history? The rest is history. Stephen, thank you so much.